What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. How are we all getting on? So Mayo beat Dublin 112 to 14 points. This is going to be the reaction. This is going to be the video where we break the game down, discuss the game, discuss a bit about Mayo, discuss a bit about Dublin. Are they going to be in a relegation battle? It certainly looks that way, potentially after 2 games and 2 defeats. Firstly, for anyone who's new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe. If you haven't already, big up to everyone on the chat who is already here. Obviously, usually with these match reactions, I usually do them straight after the game, but I was at a party last night, so unfortunately, I didn't actually get to see the game until, well, right now. I literally just watched the game in full just now, and you know what? It's mad when you watch a game when you know when you know the result. It obviously spoils it ever so slightly, but you know it's impossible not to know the score. Try to keep yourself out of it. But I was watching this game and I was like, I actually got more annoyed because I was like, how on earth did we not win this? I was watching this game and I was like, how have we thrown this away? It was a bit of a mad, like in the first half, Dublin controlled the game. They kept the ball. They've done all the right things. Shooting wise, fairly decent. You know, you go 6 points to 2 up, 5 points to 1 up early on. And we looked in control. Mayo stood off Dublin. Mayo allowed Dublin to play their own game, dictate the game on their own terms. Defensively, a lot better than how we played against Monaghan. Just really well organised, really well set up. I suppose when you're watching Dublin, it is very systematic at times. It is very, passing from side to side, waiting for the right opportunities. But we had a huge amount of control. We had a huge amount of control, dictating the way the game was going. And overall, in the first half, I actually thought Dublin did quite well. Like Mayo in the first half didn't have any wides. They might have had one that dropped short, but generally speaking, their shooting accuracy is basically what kept them in the game and had them level. I thought the referee maybe gave 1 or 2 soft frees as well in favour of Mayo in the first half. And interesting enough, actually, Mayo, 7 points were from frees, and even the point at the end from Fergal Boland was, counts as a point from play, but it came from a free essentially. So it was a bit it was a bit of a weird game. Like Mayo, fair play, they I suppose they kept themselves in it. They had the accuracy in front of goal in the first half. Shooting wise, they were superb in the first half. But it was hard to say really if anyone really deserved to win this game. Like Dublin at the start of the second half, they kick on, they go 3 points up. They start pressing up on Mayo's kickouts, and we started being a lot more direct in how we were playing football, which I think was what was needed, because I felt like in the first half Mayo were there for the taking, and we didn't go for it. We didn't get after them. We didn't run into the spaces. We didn't get our best attacking players into the game enough in the first half. And then in the second half, 3 points up, 11 points to 8. You're thinking, okay, we have this game right here, and we just allowed Mayo to come back into it. Obviously, to get themselves a goal. Jordan Flynn's effort dropped short. Stephen Cohen is alert onto it quickly, puts the ball in the back of the net. I suppose it's one of them. You see these happen so many times in Gaelic football where balls drop short and someone takes a gamble, and more often than not, they do result in goals. Very difficult for goalkeepers to. I think it's a lot easier when you're running onto the ball with pace, whereas when you're standing still, I think it's a lot harder to sort of get any power on the ball as it comes in. And yeah, Mayo, they just kept themselves in it, kept ticking, scoreboard was ticking over. But it was weird in the second half from a Dublin perspective because, I was talking about in the first half how we had so much control, how we were controlling the way the game was going. And then we sort of just lost our heads for a brief period of time, like before the Mayo goal and even after the Mayo goal. I mean, Con Basquel has an effort that drops short. Con O'Callaghan tries to lob the keeper from 45 yards. Our shooting just all of a sudden started becoming very poor. We had more than enough chances to win that game, in my opinion. Paddy Small misses a mark which you'd usually see him score. He scored an absolute wonder point earlier on in the first half that was much more difficult. Greg McEnany, who came into the side, and to be fair, I thought he had a very good game. He got himself a point, played very well actually for Dublin. He misses that chance at the end as well. That normally you see those opportunities go over. So yeah, it was just a little bit. It was a bit disappointing from a Dublin perspective to see us lose that game, because I thought we did more than enough to win it. And like Mayo, were very clinical in the first half, but even towards the end of this game as well, like between I think like the 65th minute right up until Fergal Boland's point, I mean, Mayo kept losing possession. They were missing chances. Cillian O'Connor has a free to drop short. The rebound comes back to him. He puts it wide. I remember Aidan O'Shea ballooned a free at one stage. It was definitely two teams not playing at their best. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And in the end, it comes down to fine margins. And, fair play for Mayo for working that free as well, spotting Fergal Boland, who was in the space. Dublin weren't alert to it. And Fergal Boland pops the ball over the bar. Ryan O'Donoghue was sensational, wasn't he? 7 points. That point he scored towards the end of the first half was outstanding as well. And yeah, bit of a disappointing result, because I thought Dublin did more than enough to win it, and it was just decision making towards the end was very un-Dublin like even that ball into Cillian O'Gara towards the end, like we kept kicking long as well, which started getting a bit strange, because the first half it was very passive. We were just keeping the ball. It was very, methodical. It was sort of boring, I suppose you could say, in many ways, as Joe Brawley labelled it, in the Independent today. It was very boring, but look, it was working. It was effective. And then in the second half, when we had the lead, when you'd think we'd control the game more, we started making more decisions, or more bad decisions, and we just kept giving the ball back to Mayo and kept inviting them more into the game. When I think they were there for the taking, especially when we got 3 points up at the start of the second half. Like Mayo started both halves really, really slow, and they were there for the taking. And especially in that period, between the end of the first, like Mayo's first score doesn't come until the 48th minute in the second half, after half time. Like they were definitely there for the taking during that period, and we didn't capitalize on it. We did not capitalize on it. Big up to everyone in the chat. Gaelic Guys says, to answer the question in the title, absolutely. Keane says, don't think Mayo had the best game either. Some shocking wides. Didn't feel like two Division 1 teams playing, but still early to tell where everyone's at. Yeah, it wasn't a great game, really, was it? Like first half, just like not that many chances. Both sides really playing within themselves. And I think like Dessie Farrell takes off Cormac Costello and Paddy Small in the closing minutes of the game. Like, you don't do that if it's a championship. You don't take off your two of your best forwards. For I think Lorcan O'Dell and Cillian O'Gara, the two players who come on. Like, it's one of them where, again, it just shows like where sort of Dessie Farrell and Dublin's thinking is in the league. When we're taking off our best players towards the end of the game, when the game isn't won, that way. So, but yeah. A2 says, I hate how defensive we are. Mayo didn't play well and still beat us. Way too many fouls as well. Yeah, that was the thing. Like, I feel like one or two of the frees in the first half were a little bit soft. But in the second half, I don't think any of them were soft. I think we did give away too many, and we probably got a little bit lucky with a few of them frees going wide, like Aidan O'Shea's balloon shot, and then Cillian O'Connor towards the end as well misses that opportunity. So yeah, like it's one of them where we definitely were very ill-disciplined. I think we were maybe too aggressive in defence, considering how passive maybe we were last week against Monaghan, when they were able to just run through us time and time again. But yeah, Gavin says, I think Kerry, Derry and Mayo are safe. The rest is quite open. Yeah, I think Kerry and Derry will be okay. Mayo, look, Mayo 4 points on the board now, so I think realistically you probably need 6 points, maybe 5 to stay up. Although I think, looking at how Division 1 is looking, I think 6 points probably is what's required. So you're looking at 3 wins. Score difference obviously needs to be on point as well. So it's hard to know. Like, supposed to answer the question, obviously, in the title, are Dublin in relegation trouble? It's weird because we could have won both both of the opening games. Both games were level going into injury time in either game. So, Dublin's the conversation around Dublin could be entirely different. If Greg McEnany takes that chance at the end of the game against Mayo, we probably go on to win. Same in the Monaghan game, where we have a couple of chances towards the end of that as well. So it's a strange one. I do think Dublin will still be okay. I still think that they have enough. I think I saw enough in this game from Dublin to know that as long as we play like this, against Roscommon. I think the Kerry game is, I think we've more than capable of beating Kerry, but I don't think, Kerry will probably want to turn us over, especially after what happened last year. The Cliffords are obviously back now as well. You're looking at Tyrone home, Galway away. There's enough there, I think, for Dublin still to stay up. Still Paul Mannion maybe to come back in. Be interested to see what happens with Jack McCaffrey. Like he played very well in the first half. Obviously comes off. So you're hoping there's no injuries or anything there. But yeah, we look at it's one of them things. It's strange because Dublin so used from watching Dublin so much down the years. I'm so used to them finding a way to win these games, and nowadays we don't. We don't always seem to find the way, especially in the league. Anyway, like 5-6 years ago, Dublin win this game. They 100% win this game. So, it's one of them things. But it's strange because I don't think we played that badly. I think it was just decision making and our shooting towards the end, and we definitely did fatigue quite heavily, I think. And maybe that's to do with the fact that lads coming back to training later than other counties necessarily. But then again, I think Mayo were very similar as well. A2 says could be worse, could be Kildare. Will Glenn Ryan blame the music in the dressing room for that debacle yesterday? Yeah, I did actually watch that game. I watched about the opening 40 minutes and 45, 50 minutes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, to be honest. Like Kildare were absolutely brutal, absolutely terrible. Like they didn't even score a point from play in the first half. Yeah, like I think Kildare, I think they're getting relegated. I really do. Because they've lost to Cavan, they've lost to Fermanagh, still have to play Donegal, still have to play Armagh. Look how good Louth are performing right now as well. Like I think Louth are the team they play next. You couldn't see Kildare winning that, to be honest. So yeah, I think Kildare are in massive trouble, and I think they will get relegated, and they will play in the Tailteann Cup. I'm only gutted I didn't predict it because I remember thinking Kildare, I could see them getting relegated, but I always looked at their team and I think they have enough quality to stay up, but they just seem to, for whatever reason, be playing really poorly. But who knows what will happen? But yeah, we will be going live tomorrow, 6:00. Matthew Hurley will be there. Seamus Brady will be there. Dream Team panel. And I'm sure Matthew will have a lot to say about Cork because they could be getting relegated as well. They could be going down to Division 3. Obviously, they lost to Louth. I do think Cork will be okay, though, to be fair. I think there's enough there, in my opinion. But saying that, it's not a great start. And I think promotion hopes are probably gone, to be honest with you. Just looking at how good Donegal are, Armagh put back-to-back wins together. It'd be very hard, I think. 4-point gap, even like in a promotion race, I think is a bit much. But yeah, ultimately, fair play to Mayo. Look, they got the victory. Clinical in the first half. Certainly wasn't the best performance in the world from Mayo, but certainly not from Dublin either. And I think both sides have a lot of improving to do, but I think you much rather be in Mayo shoes in terms of 4 points on the board. You're on your way towards at a minimum staying up, and look, maybe another league final could possibly be on the agenda as well. But for Dublin, the Roscommon game next now is massive, absolutely massive, because obviously that's not this week, next weekend. I think it's the weekend after. I don't think there's any games next weekend. But yeah, obviously Roscommon drawing today. If they were to beat us in Croke Park, that's a 3-point gap, and all of a sudden, I think it's a long way back, especially with Kerry, Derry to come as well. I think Kerry and Derry are two games I could see us losing. Roscommon, Galway, and Tyrone, I would look at and think that's 6 points right there that are definitely up for grabs. But look, is it the end of the world if Dublin do get relegated? Mate, probably not as well. I think that's a fair point when you look at played in Division 2 last year and won an All-Ireland. So yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. But cheers anyone who tuned in. Hit the like button and subscribe. Let us know in the comments who did you feel or what did you think of the game? Who was man of the match? Yeah, man of the match is a bit of a difficult one, wasn't it? Because there wasn't really too many actually standout players. I think Paddy Durkin played very well. I thought he did very well, in fairness. I mean, Ryan O'Donoghue, to be fair, scores 7 points, doesn't he? So you probably do have to give it to him. Jack Carney was decent as well. From a Dublin perspective, I mean, Jack McCaffrey was very good up until 50 minutes. Like, just looking at it here again, like, Colm Basquel, Ross McGarry, Paddy Small, Cormac Costello all come off in the final 10 minutes. Like, we definitely threw that game away. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. But yeah, maybe we'll go Ryan O'Donoghue man of the match. Let us know in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. 6 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be going live to discuss this game, the Kildare game, Kerry's win versus Monaghan, Armagh winning. I mean, all the games. We'll be discussing them in great detail. So I'll speak to you all then.